Hello and welcome to a very special episode of ET Insight. Over the years, this show has turned the spotlight on some of the most pressing and significant issues facing India. Today we take up the clarion call given by our newspaper, The Economic Times, for a stronger, progressive and more equitable India. The Economic Times agenda for renewal couldn't have been launched at a better time. The two biggest economic regions of the world, the US and Europe, are in deep crisis. Japan is struggling to grow, while China is staring at a hard landing. All that should have had the global investor beating a path to India, which is largely driven by domestic consumption. If that's far from the case, it's because India has not just failed to address some key issues that have dogged it for years now, but it has also let policy making touch a new low. In this episode, we turn the spotlight on an agenda for renewal. 10 issues that we believe must be addressed without any delay to realize India's economic potential. Here's the list. Dispel the mood of gloom and doom by improving the quality of public discourse. Speed up decision making to boost investor confidence. Push through policy reforms like FDI in multi-brand retail to woo foreign investors. Remove hurdles in the energy and power sectors. Usher in much needed reforms in agriculture. Rejuvenate India's cities and towns. Make land acquisition transparent and fair to all. Improve interministerial coordination on contentious approvals. Turn education into a for-profit industry. And encourage transparency in political funding to curb corruption. First up, let's look at how India can dispel the mood of gloom and doom, speed up decision making to boost investor confidence, and push through key policy reforms like FDI and multi-brand retail to woo foreign investors.
It is India's day in the sun, and nothing should take away from that. Not rising inflation, not the recent scams, and not even the global slowdown. After all, the economy is still growing at a healthy rate of 7% plus, driven by strong domestic consumption. Sure, things have slowed down, but the gloom and doom is uncalled for.
Why should there be despondence in this country? But, as somebody put it, a phrase, we are probably highlighting something which can best be termed as victimhood.
Now there's a thought. Picture this. India's demographic dividend remains intact. Its rural markets are growing like never before, and the global economic environment has made companies restructure and become more efficient. That's not all. Private domestic consumption accounts for nearly 50% of India's GDP growth. India is ranked the world's third most attractive FDI destination and boasts of strong financial markets. Sure, of late capital has been hard to come by. But then that has never stopped smart entrepreneurs or investors from seeking opportunities in adversity.
A lot of people think that India is a land of problems, right? I really think that India is a land of a billion opportunities and not a billion problems. And we are now at a stage where, in spite of the situation that you see in the world, we are ready to take off.
According to a Morgan Stanley survey of analysts who cover 1,766 global companies, India could attract FDI worth as much as $80 billion in the next 12 to 24 months. The survey says that nearly 80% of the 339 companies planning to invest in India are keen on accessing India's growing market. That's not all. According to an Ernst & Young survey on 302 investors already present in the country, 75% of respondents said that they were planning to expand their operations in India. 24% stated that they will continue operations in India, and just 1% said that they will relocate to another country. The going is good, and all that's needed right now is investor confidence.
How do we restore investor confidence? How do we talk about the good things that are happening in the country? How do we balance the negativity with the positive stuff that is happening? And then I think that, a whole series of important but not yet taken up issues about when you talk about foreign direct investment, which has slowed down, how do you scale that up?
The best way to scale up is to push through policy reforms like the government has just done in the case of FDI in the retail sector.
The issue is not about FDI in retail. Issue is about modern retail versus not so modern retail, because you need to now get into very, very scientific, high technology, modern retail. And that cannot be done only by Indian companies. You need foreign investment.
The cabinet has recently cleared the proposal to permit FDI of up to 51% in multi-brand retail and to raise FDI limit in single-brand retail from the current 51% to 100%. But the minimum amount that a foreign retailer has to bring in for multi-brand retail is $100 million. That's not all. 50% of FDI investments in retail will have to be used for developing back-end infrastructure, and 30% of all procurement will have to be sourced from small industries. Retail is not alone. There are several other sectors that are in dire need of capital. Therefore, it's essential that India engages foreign investors.
There should be a very clearly laid out foreign direct investment policy, and that is what the foreign investor really looks forward to. He is not much bothered, let me tell you, whether he is 26% or 49% or 74% or 100%. He is looking for transparency, he is looking for clarity, and most of all, he is looking for a hassle-free regime.
Indeed, a hassle-free FDI regime will go a long way in boosting India's economy, as was the case in the late 90s. At that time, India was cautiously opening the doors of its economy to the world. Today, the country is geared to take that decision to the next level. FDI is known to have benefited several countries, including China. And if India wants to be in the same league, this is the one step that must be taken.
We're headed for a short break, but stay tuned to find out why India needs to power up its energy sector, reform agriculture and rejuvenate its cities and towns. Stay with us.